session. So this will seem like such a simplistic comment to make, to the level where it might even sound, this will seem like borderline sarcastic. Like, I get why you're saying that, Lee, but that's just a stupid thing to say, okay? Dean, what's the number one thing you want to get handled? Richard, what's the number one thing you want to get handled? So the title of the video is Planning an Epic 2023, okay? And when I say the comment that I'm about to say, which some people might think that's a bit of a silly comment, on Facebook, let me know as well, if you're watching live on Facebook, what's the number one thing you want to get handled? So how do we, if I put this over to you guys and I put it on your toes to answer the question right now, how do you think you could have, what's the secret to you having the best 2023 ever? Okay, the simple answer to this question, and this is why I said it might sound sarcastic, the easiest way to ensure you have the best 2023 ever is to plan it. Claire Hudson, how you doing? You are in control of your entire year. You are in control of what happens tonight. You are in control of what happens tomorrow, the day after that, the day after that, and the whole of 2023. What we do is, as humans, subconsciously, many of us, we live our lives on autopilot. And the thing that's crazy is that we keep expecting a different outcome. And I'm actually going to call a lot of you out on your own bullshit tonight as well, because I'm not perfect, guys. You know my history. I've messed up a lot. I've made a lot of bad decisions. Had some very difficult periods of life when things haven't gone to plan. But I didn't have a plan. And that's why they didn't go to plan. And this is what happens, okay? We get up, we go to work, we work really hard. We constantly tell people how busy we are. There must have been 20 people in my inbox today. Hi, how are you enjoying your free trial? Oh, I've just been too busy. I've not even looked at it. Oh, what have you been doing? Well, you know, just working that. Well, what's the and that? Well, I don't know what you mean. Well, there must be something else. You only work for 8 hours. So what's the and that? Well, you know, no, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you the question. And this is where we get to, right? You cannot, if you do not know what you are doing from 6 a.m. until 12 p.m. every single day, how can you be too busy? You don't even know how you're spending your time. You get up, you go to work, you eat shit, you get through another day, you don't go to the gym. Some of you will then drink to soothe the pain before getting through to the weekend, doing very little all weekend apart from getting pissed and moaning and blaming, and then stuck on the cycle of return. You know, it's Gordon Ramsay's favorite phrase, isn't it? Busy idiots. Okay? Nobody is too busy to go to the gym. Nobody is too busy to eat healthily. Nobody is too busy to be a better parent. Nobody is too busy to fill in a planner. Nobody is too busy to value yourself high enough to start giving a shit about what you put in your body, the way you treat other people, the standards that you live your life by, what you value. You're not too busy, you're full of shit. That's the truth. Because if you're too busy, what is it that you're so busy doing that's more important than your health? Come at me with your comments. Because every single area of our life, whether it's being a good partner, whether it's being a good parent, whether it's our own personal happiness, will always stem from an elite level of self-care. We can never give from a cup that's half empty. When our energy is good, everyone around us it will be good. If we're confident, we'll have confident kids. If we're motivated, our family will be motivated. If we'll smile, our family will smile with us. But the same works the other way. Now, what happens is we end up in this zone where it's like we're sat in a car, and this is the reality of what will happen to most people. Okay, they'll say, yeah, you know, 2023 it's going to be my year. 2022 wasn't great. You know, a lot happened, you know, this and that and this and that. What's this and that? I don't really know what that is, but, you know, tell me, you know, cost of living and this happened and that happened and this injury and that illness and this relationship breakup and this work and this redundancy and this death and this bereavement. That's fucking life. Okay, that is going to happen every year for the rest of your life. If you think you're getting through 2023 without challenge, without bereavement, without breakdowns, without breakups, without wins, without losses, without redundancies, without COVIDs, without cost of livings, then you are literally crackers. Or you are just that far in your comfort zone that your life is that uninspiring, that boring, that not exciting, that you won't face any challenges because you're basically not doing anything at all. If you're not facing challenges every year, you're probably not setting any goals. Like, hand on heart, who could say now, I've got a full strategic plan for 2023? I know when I'm going on holiday, I know my target earnings, I know how I want my body to look by the end of the year, I know where I want to have traveled to, I know what I'm committed to in personal development, I know how each week's going to look, I know my 12-month goal, I know my 6-month goal, I know my 3-month goal. I've got a 45-day checkpoint. I've brought that back to the first week in 2023, and I know what I need to have done by the end of that week to have moved forward towards my goal. That's called an elite level of planning. 95% of people are going into 2023 with zero fucking plan, apart from to get through another year, get through another week, get through another day. Your life is worth more than that. Your kid's life is worth more than that. Your loved ones, friends and families is worth more than that. Does that sound exciting? Drop me a yes if you want to just get through another year. Or do you want to step up and create the best year of your life? Do you want to create excitement? Do you want to create energy? Do you want to start being an example, not a warning? Do you want to start showing your kids, not telling them? Because trust me, and this will trigger some people as well, however you are behaving in front of your kids, that is what you are showing them is okay. So if you're a lazy fat fuck who spends all day Sunday laid on the couch, you're showing them that's okay. That's the way to go, son. This is how we spend Sundays. If you go to the football and get pissed out of your head every Saturday and then come home pissing and whining, speaking to your missus like shit, and then you're a Mardy shit all fucking day on Sunday, low energy, low mood, snappy, that is what you are showing them is okay. That is what you are teaching them. If you get in from work every day and the first thing you do is buy 4 cans of beer and crack them open, that's what you are showing them that is okay. If you speak to your partner like shit, if you speak to them like shit, that's what you're showing them is okay. So are we going to get through another year doing the same shit? Or are we going to start to step up? Are we going to start to lead? Are we going to start to create excitement? Are we going to start to create inspiration? Are we going to start to create something to live for? I said this morning, most people, the amount of people that say they're depressed, you're not depressed, you're bored. You have no goals, you have no mission, you have no drive, you have no inspiration, you have no targets, you have no fucking plan. That's why you feel the way you do. Because when you have no plan, when you have no goals, when you have no dreams, when you have no aspirations, when you just get out of bed and roll into another day, guess what happens by default? We focus on how we don't want to feel, what isn't working well for us, who's pissing us off, who's not supporting us, who keeps letting us down. If you don't fill your day with exciting visions of what you want to achieve, by default, other people will fill it with their drama. Fuck that. Drop me a yes if you want your entire day filled with someone else's drama. But if you don't plan it, that's what will happen. Remember this, if there's one phrase you could take home from this presentation, hope is not a strategy. People say this all the time, oh, I'm going to hope for a better week. You might as well just say, I have no intention of doing anything different from last week, because you're lying. I know, I used to lie myself. I'm going to see how it goes. Also means I had no fucking intention of doing the work. If it's not written down, if it's not in a planner, if you don't have a plan for 2023, you, my friend, have no intention of it being any different to 2022. You're going to make the same mistakes, the same actions, the same behaviors, the same thoughts before blaming, complaining, and justifying. Why? Because you had no plan. This is how most people will roll into 2023. One of the biggest take-homes I've had from Paul this year. It's like getting in a taxi, and when the taxi driver says, hey up pal, where do you want to go? Turning around and saying, I don't know, not fucking here though, it's shit. Cost of living and that. Other people let me down all the time. Not here. Where do you want to go? I don't know, not here. We have to create where we want to go. We have to have a vision. We have to have a dream. We have to have something to get out of bed for that makes us feel excited. But no one's going to come and put that in your lap. You need to create it. You need to dream it. You need to write it down. And then you need to write it down every day. Because this is what else will happen, guys. In January, you will all, well, if you decide to work with me in January, you'll all be playing double, by the way, unless you make the decision tonight, because I like working with fast action takers, not people that are full of shit and put things off so they can have another 2 weeks of being uncomfortable. Because nothing's going to have changed in January versus now, apart from the double investment. You'll still be in the same situation, except you won't really, because you'll be another 3 weeks backwards. 3 more weeks of gaining weight, 3 more weeks of blaming, complaining, and justifying, 3 more weeks of doing fuck all about what it is you keep saying you want. 3 more weeks of saying I'm lost. 3 more weeks of saying I'm stuck in a rut. 3 more weeks of getting through and saying, oh, I really fell off the wagon over Christmas. You didn't fall off of anything. You made a decision. Which is my biggest take home from the coaching session I was on Friday. Guess what? I have 5 coaches. Why? Because I invest in myself. Because I value them. I value their help, their support, their accountability, and the peer group. James Slade, your alcohol abuse video kept me 100% sober for 3 months. Yes! Big wins. Guess why James is doing that? Because I taught him to celebrate his daily wins. And he's not afraid about shouting about it on Facebook. because he's proud, because he's been sober for 3 months. You didn't fall off anything. You made a decision. Nobody has ever eaten, drank, or sniffed anything by mistake. Nobody ever placed a bet by mistake. Nobody ever stuck their dick or their fanny on or in someone by mistake. It was a decision, a choice. Be honest with yourself if you want to move forward. That's the first thing you need to do. No one's ever fallen off of any wagon. Why? Because it wasn't an accident. Your friends didn't force you to drink. You chose to drink. You didn't not go to the gym because of work. You never planned to go to the gym. You thought, I'll see. How many times have you said this? Drop me a yes if it sounds familiar. I know I've said it. I'll see how I feel later. What I mean is, I'll not plan it. I'll not schedule it. And then I'll leave the decision until 7 p.m. tonight when I'm fucked and my energy is really low. And then you're shocked when you never go to the gym. You never planned to go. Be honest, you never had any intention of going. We have to plan. But here's where the strategy comes into it. Okay? Do you want to see my planner for last year? Only the back end of it, because I changed it. Just to give you a bit of an idea. So every month is mapped out. I know when plans are starting, when plans are ending, when holidays are happening, when birthdays are, when I've got gigs, when I'm in Ibiza, when I'm in Austria, when I'm in South Shields, when I'm with Paul, and it's all mapped out. And then this week, I'll spend a full 8 hours, 8 solid hours on strategically planning exactly what it is I want to achieve in 2023. Now, I didn't believe that I could win Paul Mort's Coach of the Year award, but I fucking made a plan to make sure I put myself in the best possible position. It was written down in my goals in January. Didn't have to believe it. I didn't have a record year with my business by chance. I didn't get up each day and work on the business and hope for the best. I'm not about to run 4 marathons in 24 hours by leaving my training schedule that loose that it says, I might go for my run later. I'll see how I'm feeling. It's in the planner. If you want to know how high my accountability is with my running, it's synced to my coach's computer in Dubai. So he knows whether I go for a run or not. Personally, I'm a man of honesty and integrity, so I'm not going to lie to him, and I couldn't even if I wanted. Maybe that's what some of you need as well. It's not enough just to be able to say, I'm going to do it. You need the help, you need the support, you need the peer group. Again, this is something that's changed for me this year. I used to talk about keeping my circle small, tiny, in fact, because I wanted to avoid negative, toxic people. Now I've got a peer group of positive people that's that big. It's bigger than a family could ever be. We're talking 30, 40, 50 people that hold me accountable, that support me, that build me up, that pull me up when I'm down, that never, ever pull me back down. And this is what a peer group is. If you haven't got one, you're probably going to be fucked. Because a peer group is a group of people that you either modify your behavior to stay part of, i.e., I have to consistently modify my behavior every week to stay part of Inner Fight, to stay part of Elite X. Because if not, they'll call me out on my own bullshit. Or when the going gets tough and I decide not to step up, I could be a whiny little bitch and go back to my old mates, because guess what? They're easier. I can do coke and booze with them every weekend and they never call me out on anything. And then when I've got a massive calm down on Monday, I can start talking about my anxiety and my depression, my personality disorder, how it's different for me, how it's everyone else's fault, how I did it because of what happened when I was younger. And all my loser mates will go, yeah, I'm same. She'll get another bag in. She'll go to the pub again. Do you want to book another festival? Dragging me down to their level, keeping me stuck, listening to my bullshit, giving me a platform to perform on. Okay, so we need an epic peer group. We need accountability. We need support. But most of all, we need a plan. But going back to what I was about to say, this is what many people will make a plan. Drop me a yes if you've set a goal and then never taken any action towards it. Drop me a yes if you've set a big dream and you've never taken any action towards it. Drop me a yes if you've signed up for a coaching plan and have never really done it. I've done all of them loads. Because this is what happens, okay? When we start out, we live in a zone of what's called uninformed optimism. Okay? Uninformed optimism is when we sign up with the online coach. We sign up with a PT. We sign up with the new 6-figure Work With Me business coach. We sign up with Fat Camp, Weight Watchers, Slimming World, Keto, Cambridge, Fatkins, Juice Twat, Herbal Bullshit, or any of the other fucking shit plans that are on the market. I mean, like, this is the one, this is the one. It's January, I'm going to drop some weight, I'm going to build some muscle, I'm going to sort my mental health out, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to stop sniffing, I'm going to stop gambling, I'm going to stop cheating, I'm just going to stop being a knob, full stop, I'm going to be a great parent. I'm going to do everything. This is going to be my year. I'm going to get some new leggings, I'm going to get some new trainers, I'm going to get a new sports bra. That's just me. And then we get to week 2 or 3. Oh, fucking hell. It's tough, this getting up every morning. You mean I have to get up every morning and go for a walk? You mean I have to do 10,000 steps every day? You mean I can't get fucking cunted every weekend and still drop body fat? You mean I'm actually going to have to like get on the phone and sell to people if I want to build a business? I'm actually going to have to be accountable to my coach that I'm paying for and be called out on my own bullshit. That means getting up earlier and going to bed later. By the way, guys, as well, any of you listening to these bellends on the internet who are telling you can build a business in 4 hours a week or you can get shredded, the fucking busy dad knobheads. Join my Busy Dads program and you can train for 3 30-minute sessions per week whilst drinking beer every weekend and look like me. Can you fuck? They are liars. No one's ever got lean drinking beer every weekend and training 3 times a week. No one's ever built a 6-figure business working 4 hours per week. They might work 4 hours per week once they've spent 12 years building a 6-figure business. They might be able to train 3 times a week and have a beer at the weekend, as I could if I chose, once they're already shredded, but they didn't get them abs training 3 times a week. You're fucking stupid if you listen to that. They didn't build the business working 4 hours a week. You're fucking stupid if you listen to that. So back to the point of the story, because I'm on one, I've had too much Monster. So after uninformed optimism comes informed pessimism. So uninformed optimism is when we start out. Then we hit informed pessimism. Shit, I'm going to have to deal with rejection. I'm not going to make a sale every time I pick up the phone. I'm going to have to go through uncomfortable experiences. I'm going to have to work long hours. I'm going to have to train when I don't feel like it. I'm going to have to run for 4 hours in -4 in the snow. I'm going to have to get up to do it at 4 a.m. Yes, that was me 3 days ago. 4 a.m. I left the house. in -4 to run 4 hours. Why? Because I give a shit about impacting and inspiring people. Did I feel like getting up? No, of course I didn't. Will it be worth it? Of course it will. Stop letting people convince you there's an easy road. Be willing to take the path of most resistance, not always look for the easy road. Nothing good will ever come easy. So what happens is we go back. Let's go back. Let's go through this cycle. Uninformed optimism. That's your New Year's resolution in your first couple of weeks. Then we hit informed pessimism. Oh shit, I actually need to not drink for more than 2 weeks. I need to stop eating cake. I actually have to train. I have to actually make a sales call. I actually have to make an effort in my relationship if I want it to work. Being a good parent isn't a dream. It means actually engaging and being present and planning fun stuff. Oh, it sounds like hard work. And then after the informed pessimism, when we realize it's going to be tough, that's when people quit. Got too uncomfortable, got too tough. They preferred the easier life. So they went back to comfort until they hit the pit again. Depression, anxiety, frustration, resentment, anger, fat, unfit, ill. Until it gets that bad that they're left with no option but to start again. We've got to get through that period. And this means that the plan has to be sustainable. You have to be able to maintain it, but we have to stick to the plan. We can't create a 2023 plan. I'll be going through this with all my clients this week. We're going to be doing a full 2-hour strategic planning session for 2023. My own personal one is 8 hours. 8 hours of planning 2023. I bet you on my house I have a fucking awesome year. Just like I did this year. Not without challenges. I had major surgery in January. Couldn't speak for 6 weeks. Just been ill for 7 weeks. Couldn't speak or train for 7 weeks. Been through a relationship breakup. I've had numerous business failings. I've had a grade 1 Achilles tear. I lost the plot after doing the fan dance and didn't train for a month because I burned myself out. It hasn't been an easy year. It's been full of challenges. But I'm going to finish running 4 marathons in 24 hours. And as Paul Mort's Elite X Man of the Year. And raising over 10K for charity. And being in incredible physical shape and mental shape. And having a record financial year for the business. Why? Because I planned it. I planned it and then I shared the plan. And then I planned the plan with a coach. And then I found someone to hold me accountable in all areas of life. And then I checked back on it every week. You can't write the plan in January and then not keep reviewing it every week, every month, every quarter. If not, how do you know you're still on track? You don't, which is when you stop getting results, which is why you quit. Because you weren't seeing change. This is where people struggle with motivation. Guys, you've got 5 minutes. Drop me some questions. I can't seem to get motivated. That's because motivation comes after taking action. You do the work, you see the change, you feel motivated. You do the work, you make the sales call, you start to feel more confident. You do the work, you see results, you start to believe in yourself. Yet people are still looking for belief, confidence, and motivation to get started. They come afterwards. They are created through action. Action is the only answer. Action brings change. Action builds courage. It all comes down to action. You can't hope your way to anywhere. You can't think your way out of a situation. We have to create a plan and take daily action towards it. But then we need to check back on it. So think of it as a sat nav. You can put your destination in for 2023, but this is what most people do. Their New Year's resolution, they create their GIT goals, financial goals, body goals, relationship goals, travel goals, health goals. And then they close the book or switch the sat nav off. And then guess what? It's 3 weeks into January. They're fucking lost. They're stuck in a rut. They've fallen off the fucking wagon. You didn't fall off. You jumped off. It wasn't an accident. You made a decision. It was a choice. You couldn't even hack 3 weeks. So you gave up. It got uncomfortable. But guess what? Being fat's uncomfortable. Being poor's uncomfortable. Being an alcoholic's uncomfortable. Being depressed is uncomfortable. Being anxious is uncomfortable. Having no confidence or motivation is uncomfortable. Both options are uncomfortable. But you either go through the discomfort of making a sales call and make more money, or you avoid it and stay poor. You go through the discomfort of going to the gym and lose weight, or you avoid it and stay fat. You go through the discomfort of ending a relationship and be happy, or you stay unhappy forever. You cannot avoid the discomfort and get the results, despite your 6-figure knobheads, despite you get your dream body in 3 sessions a week, drinking beer every weekend, dad bod plans. Despite the world preying on naive people like you and I, because we want things quickly, we want things easy, we want things without doing the work. Doesn't exist, guys. We've got to set the goal. We've got to create the plan. We need accountability. We need a peer group, and we need to check back on reviewing it every week. Am I doing what I said I would? No. Okay. Well, what went well? What didn't go so well? Knowing what I know now, what am I going to do differently next week? Or are you going to keep doing the same things and expecting a different outcome? Because that, my friend, is insanity. The coaching session I'm doing tomorrow from a private client is going to blow their heads, because it will help us to understand how we are all creators of our own destiny. But most of us believe we can create change without changing. It's impossible, guys. If we need to change our personal reality, we need to change our actions. We need to change how we think, feel, and behave, because the same thoughts will lead to the same actions, the same choices, the same behaviors, the same mistakes. And that's all I've got for you tonight. What questions do you have? Or drop me a DM. Dean, 2 weeks no drinking. Congrats. Nothing will ever change your life like stopping drinking. That's a promise. No one ever said, man, I stopped drinking and it totally ruined my life. Fucking hell. I proper regret stopping drinking, me. I mean, that money I saved, how much fitter I got. I stopped being Mardy. I stopped being a bellend. I stopped talking to my missus like shit. Stop wasting money that I could be spending on my kids. Fucking hell. What did I do that for? I'm fitter. I'm stronger. I'm going to live longer. I'm healthier. Full of regrets. No one ever stopped gambling and regretted it. No one ever stopped eating crap and regretted it. How do you stop the self-sabotage of eating crap if you've had a stressful day at work? Great question, Tara. Okay, great question. The same way you stop drinking. The same way you stop sniffing coke. The same way you stop cheating on your partner. The same way you stop gambling. You stop focusing on stopping and you start replacing. If you focus on stopping drinking, I'm going to lose my voice. Where are all your dominant thoughts on drink? If you focus on stopping eating crap, where are all your dominant thoughts? Eating crap. Now, the reason why you self-sabotage and eat food after a stressful day is because it makes you feel good. It releases dopamines. Guess what exercise does? Exactly the same. One leads to a positive outcome, one leads to a negative outcome. People are crackers. They think alcohol releases stress. It creates it. Kelsey, I do this all the time when I'm bored. Again, that's why you can't focus on stopping it. You have to replace it. The reason you eat shit is because it gives you a payoff. The reason you take drugs is because it gives you a payoff. The reason you drink alcohol is because it gives you a payoff. The reason you place a bet is because it gives you a payoff. The reason you cheat on your wife or husband is because it gives you a payoff. But here's the kicker, guys, and this is what I'm going to leave you on. Guys, drop me an email or DM me on Facebook. I've gone way over. We're on 45 minutes. If you want to speak to me about the plans and the deals that end tonight, message me on Facebook, send me a WhatsApp, or email me, lee@freemanfitness.co.uk. Okay, the reason we do it is because it gives us a payoff. Take this away from tonight's training. So what happens, Tara? Think about it. Okay, we get in from work and we're stressed. People then tend to do three things: eat, drink, or have a spliff. What do all three of them things do? They give you an immediate payoff. The drinking alcohol blocks out the pain and allows you to escape. Releases dopamine. Having a line or smoking a spliff blocks out the pain, releases dopamine, allows you to escape. Eating a big fat lump of red chocolate velvet cake, or in my case, 3 bags of Haribo Tangfastics, releases dopamine, gives you a payoff, makes you feel great. But what happens? It's a short-term, immediate payoff with no immediate drawback. You don't have a line and then become a drug addict. You don't drink 2 glasses of wine and become a fat, miserable, overweight, anxious mess of a woman overnight. You don't drink 4 pints of lager and become a lard-ass beer belly who's literally a total waste of space. All you get is the immediate payoff. That feels good. That feels good. Blocks it out. Same reason people cheat. Why? 5 minutes of fun. Same reason people are willing to throw away years of a relationship for a 5-minute fiddle. Why? Because it gives them a short-term immediate payoff. What's the long-term payback? They lost the best thing they ever had. What's the long-term payoff of the line of Coke? Become a drug addict, end up homeless. What's the long-term drawback of consistent drinking? Become a fat, depressed, anxious alcoholic. What's the long-term drawback of consistently eating 4 bags of Tangfastics every night when you feel like shit? Become diabetic and 25 stone. Until you're that fat, you can't walk up the stairs without your thighs rubbing together and getting out of breath. Being embarrassed, an embarrassment to your kids. Short-term payoff, long-term, potentially fatal drawback. Now let's flip the situation. What happens when we eat a healthy meal? Fuck all. What happens when we go and do to the gym for a week? Fuck all. What happens when we stop drinking for a week? Probably fuck all. What happens when we stop doing drugs for a week? Probably fuck all. What happens when we decide to show up and make an effort in our relationship or with our kids for a week? Probably fuck all. Wonder how many times I've said fuck and shit and see on this. I think I've done way too much Monster today, guys. I need to turn the heating down as well, I'm getting hot. But there is a huge, huge long-term payoff. What happens when we stop drinking for the whole of 2023? What happens when we start showing up in our relationship every week? What happens when we consistently go to the gym 5 times a week for the entire year? What happens when we consistently eat healthily? What happens when we consistently save rather than spending? What happens when we consistently show up for ourselves with 100% effort for 365 consecutive days because we value ourselves and our family's futures high enough? You will have the biggest long-term payoff on this earth and have the best year of your life if you plan it. It's not going to happen by chance. It's not going to happen through hope. It's not going to happen if you leave things down to chance. It will only happen if you plan it. And this is what we will be doing. We will be planning 12 months. We will be bringing the 12 months back to a 6-month checkpoint. We will bring the 6 months back to the first 90 days of 2023. We will reverse that to a checkpoint of 45 days before bringing it back to the first week. What do we need to do in the first week of 2023 to move towards our goals? And why do I do it like that? Because if you look at the whole year, everything looks too big. Need to lose 4 stone, can't do it. Want to make £1 million, can't do it. Need to go to the gym 300 times, can't do it. Need to stop drinking for 11 out of 12 months, can't do it. The thing is too big. And then what happens is, rather than focusing on the why, rather than focusing on the what, rather than focusing on the who, we focus on the I don't know how to do that. Everything seems too big. I can't do it. I don't believe in myself. And we end up living in the shit zone, which is why we break it back into what we need to do in a week, break it back down to what we need to do in a day, and focus on that daily. Guys, I love you all. I hope you've enjoyed that. Have a wicked 2023.